Yay, there you go. That was good.
Yes. Very good. Very good. So,
good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone, wherever you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on whatever, on your potato. We are doing another late night show with Zack P, and Prime in China is today's guest. Corey, would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so obviously I'm Prime in China. Lived in China for quite a bit. Now I'm back in America, and just kind of comparing things between America and China to let people know that perhaps are going to go there or whatever can expect to see and notice as differences, of course. So, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Absolutely. So, today's topic is food shortages and food quality and food safety in both countries. Obviously, I will talk about, Hungary and the UK, and you're gonna represent America.
Yep.
And you lived in China for how long exactly?
So a little over 6 years, Lulu. So quite a while, long enough, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, then. So I can see that we have a lot of people watching already, which is great because, we're both small channels. So that's great. Anyway, let's start off, with the basics. What do we think of food safety in China in general? What's the general word on the street about food safety in China?
So I'll start with one thing. I'll kind of tell just a short story. When I first went to China, I actually went from the Hong Kong border and walked into Shenzhen, of course, and Shenzhen is very advanced city and everything. And it was that night I was trying to find food. I had jet lag and all that stuff. And I found street food, right? And street food, like for Americans, is way different than street food for Chinese people because a lot of the FDA and food standards here are so high that, a lot of times street food is not like street food in China. And so some of the food I seen was like, oh, I don't know in China if I could eat that, but I still managed to find some food that was good. So it was really interesting. So I realized right away that, of course, food standard was a little lower than America and even what I seen in Japan. So that was my very first walking on the street thing that I noticed. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I somewhat need to agree with this one. So, during my first week in China, I was like, kind of lost. I was doing my training for a school. Then, it was like 10 p.m. and I was like, I'm really hungry. I want to eat something, but I don't want to eat the usual trash like crisps and chocolates
Right.
and all that sort of a stuff. Like,
Right.
I want to get like something legit. So obviously, street food is the obvious choice. So I went around the street food like stalls, and chicken feet, duck's neck. Then you can get the normal stuff like the Xinjiang barbecue, like barbecue on stick kind of stuff, which is really nice. But
Yeah.
there's one thing that you notice immediately is the lack of hygiene practices. Like, for example, like seafood is out there in the open, and this was back in July in 2016. 2017. And, it was like 30, 35 degrees in Celsius. I don't know what is that in your American standards, but
Fucking
yeah,
hell.
I wouldn't feel safe eating seafood like that, during the summer, especially during the summer. So, yeah, like, hygiene practices is something that kind of lacks in China. I mean, not everywhere, but
No.
street food is one place where it's really like, you know, it's very significant that it's not there, in my opinion.
I remember like I said, my first night, and like you said, I went to the convenience stores and I found like the chicken feet and all that stuff. I was like, no, I ain't gonna eat that little chicken leg in the bag. I was like, no, I can't do that. And like you, I found like the Chinese barbecue place, and I remember like the stove had like some like where the coal goes in the bottom, and it was like it was kind of dirty looking. And I remember the guy that was cooking, he had like a cigarette in his mouth, and he was like cooking with a cigarette, and the what do you call it, like the ash on the end was like
Yeah.
this. And I'm like, oh no, don't follow the food, because I'm like watching it, and I'm like, dude, I just ordered some food, and it's gonna get ashes on it from his cigarette.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, come on. And it was just kind of, at first, it was kind of shocking, and then it was just kind of funny. I was like, how long is the ash on his cigarette gonna get before he, But yeah, and to be honest, like there, I mean, obviously this is kind of understandable in a sense that there's no like washing your hands after you touch the meat in the in the market. Like they didn't, he didn't really do that. He would put the food on the skewers, and then he would touch the chicken and then the beef, and then he's like, yeah, and you're like, okay,
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, there was a video that I did a couple of weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago now, and I was walking around at this like street markets where they sell like fresh produce and everything, and it was like lunchtime. So the lady working in the meat store, she is eating her normal noodles, bare hands, no gloves, no nothing. She's just eating it with chopsticks and everything. And I see a customer walking up. She picks up the raw meat with bare hands, puts it in a bag, gives it to her, then goes back to eat her noodles like that. And I was like, well, that's weird. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, before we move forward, let's say hi to the audience. I can see a few familiar faces, a few Hungarians as well. ABC Markets already asked us a question. We're gonna answer this question a bit later on because we prepared some articles for you guys. Dave says there is no food safety in China. I think we kind of proved that point just now. It lacks. There is food safety, but sometimes it lacks. Hi, Zack P. No hi to Prime in China, unfortunately. We have Snarky Guy. And I read this comment while you were talking, but I'm going to read it out loud. So I once tried street food in Shenzhen in 1989. So that was a long time ago. I wasn't even born back then. This guy was frying some rats over a tin box with a chopstick pushed through them like shish kebabs. All the hair was cooked off at this point.
Holy shit.
Good thing is I had my dinner about 3 hours ago.
I seen them cook a chicken one time in China where they take it like feathered and everything, and they just like throw it in the fire and like turn it, and then I'm like, does that work that way? Like, doesn't that just ruin it? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I've seen them do that, and then I've seen them like, and like I'm from the city, so maybe I'm just completely retarded about this, but they take the chicken and like dump it in this stuff, and then like they pull it out and the feathers just all come out really easy. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Four Seasons One family, glad to be here. We are very glad that you are here. It's a lack of health education and where germs come from. Sad. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, like I said earlier with the noodle story, it's kind of common sense as well. But, there is no like in the UK, if you want to open a restaurant, all of your staff members, they need to go through like health and safety and food safety courses, and they need to have a general understanding of food safety. But here it's not. There is no such thing in China. Everybody can open a restaurant, and you can operate, in a couple of hours, basically, if you buy a restaurant, and you can start selling food like almost immediately.
Yeah. I always tell people about how there's that culture in China where you can kind of like bribe your way through some things. And everyone has seen those signs. And I've said this on my channel like 10 times. There's those like happy face signs, and then there's like the mediocre face, and then there's like the sad face sign, and they're like in every Chinese restaurant. And I remember this restaurant I was in, and like in the front they have the happy face, and then everywhere else around the restaurant it's like the sad face. So I asked them, I'm like, so are you guys the happy face or the sad face? And they were kind of like offended. They were like, well, we've improved a lot. And I'm like, well, what happens? Like they have to keep it up, right? And so maybe they just bought the fake one, or maybe they bribed the happy face. I don't know. I just thought it was really strange. And they had like a video on the screen where they were trying to show like how clean their kitchen was. And you could tell that it was like just a replay, like it was just looping. I'm like, that's not real. And it was kind of hilarious because like they were pretty smart about trying to make it appear like it was something it was not actually. And I just thought it was kind of funny. And of course I still ate there. And to be fair, the food was still good, but who knows what quality it was, right? So
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Like, China is the kind of place where people want to show and save face. Like face is everything. Like face is king. So, if your restaurant looks good on paper, and you have good reviews on like Meituan, for example, then everybody's gonna go to your restaurant because the face shows that this is something that you can trust, even though they are probably cooking rats as beef in the back.
Yeah, like who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah. All right, let's scroll through a couple of more comments. Daf AG, he says, I hate Chinese food, just oily, greasy junk. Some of it is. I have to agree with that. Some Chinese food is very like basic and simple, but then you get like really nice dishes, like regional dishes, like Northeast, for example, gobaro. That's a northeast, special thing, and that's not oily, greasy junk. That's actually a very tasty thing. It's basically sweet and sour. Chinaville, konnichiwa. Probably you can understand this one.
Hello, yeah, right.
Thanks, Snarky. Just puked in my mouth. Yeah, that's what I just said. 3 hours ago, I had my dinner and I'm happy. Xi Jinping's boner. Wow, it's my favorite shill. A Zack CCP. Absolutely. I don't know. I want to ask this. I want to ask
Are
this.
you
I don't want.
chill? Are you a shill yet? Like, are you? I don't
I
know
don't
if
know.
you're a
I
shill
want
yet.
to. I want to ask Xi Jinping's boner. Am I like? Is he trolling or is he actually serious about this? I want to know. Like,
I had
let
people
me know in
ask
the comment
me
section, dude. Let me
about
know
like
in the comment
Snarky too.
section.
Like, is Snarky a shill? I'm like, I don't think so. Like, he doesn't shill. Like, do you shill, Zach? I don't think you shill. Do you? Do you shill?
Nah, I shill for myself.
I don't know if you shill. Not yet. Maybe one
Not
day.
yet.
You
Maybe
can.
one day.
Maybe.
But let me just advertise your shill awards a little bit. So that's going to be on Wednesday.
Yep. Finally putting that thing out after having it delayed. Oh my gosh, it was such a pain. Such a pain.
Absolutely. Sneller Sam says, talk about gutter oil. Are we planning to talk about gutter oil later on?
Well.
Sure.
Yeah.
There you go. Another one from Snarky. The old slow train from Shenzhen to Guangzhou used to serve an in-flight meal in a white styrofoam box. I never bought one, but the rat's tail coming out of the box
What?
left a little doubt what's inside. We need to get Snarky on this live stream at some point.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's great. He has a
Yeah.
good live stream too. You know.
Yeah. The Snark Lounge. But I never got an invite. I don't know if Jimmy likes me or dislikes me or
I tried.
he's
He
holding.
wouldn't let me on there either.
I don't know. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on. It seems like Chinese assume fresh meat clean and safe even without cooking. Yes, that is a thing.
Yeah,
That is a
very
thing.
good point.
Yeah, I agree with this one. And you know, when I go to a hot pot restaurant with Chinese people, like they dump the meat in, they wait like 15 seconds, and they are like, "Hala, we can eat."
Mm.
And it's the same with like barbecue as well. Like they think just because there's like a little crust on the outside, it's totally cooked.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And like, you know, I take it off and I take a bite and it's still like this raw, you know, bloody meat on the inside. And I'm like, dude, it's puhao.
I've had
And they're
that.
like,
It's hoo-ha. Bam. No comment. Gonna let that one go.
yeah.
Yeah. No. I want to talk about gutter oil since that one guy did bring that up.
Yep.
You know, that was you know, one thing that like I remember people talked about, and they were like, people acted like it was everywhere and it happened all the time. And when I lived in China for the longest time, I was kind of like, that's bullshit. You know, I was like, bullshit. Never seen that. You know. And then one day I seen it and I was like, oh no. I was like, that's gutter oil for real. Like that's now I'm not going to say everywhere does that because that's not true, but it is it is a real thing, right? Like it really does happen. Maybe it doesn't happen everywhere, but it is a real thing, right? Like there's videos of it. I've seen it. It is real, unfortunately, you know.
Also, let's explain what is gutter oil. Like, how do they make it, and you know, what's the significance? Why is it called gutter oil? Why is it not like, you know, secondhand oil or filtered oil?
Right.
So, do you want to explain it to the viewers in a few words?
So I will try, and then if you know, if I'm wrong, then so my impression of gutter oil is, of course, this oil that as they have poured in the gutter, right, and has literally been sifted back out. Because in China, a lot of times you have these weird, like, it'll be like a grill and then like a drain, and it like at least in Guangzhou, like the water filtration like the water system is not very good to like let the water out, you know, in the city. And so like they literally, what I seen was they put a bucket down in there, and they were because there was about 10 or 15 food stalls where I was at. I was I don't know if I should say the area, but you know, yeah, they were like scooping the oil up and then filtering it after, and I'm like, does that work though? I don't know if that works to filter it after. Like, no comment, right? No comment.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it in Beijing once, and that was actually during my first 3 weeks in China.
Yeah, I
And
didn't see it for years. That's why I thought it was bullshit.
yeah.
And I seen it.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. Like, I watched videos before I came to China, and people were talking about, oh, there's gutter oil, like, in big cities, and like that's how restaurants are trying to, like, save money and all of these things. And yeah, like basically where restaurants are like dumping, food and waste and everything that usually comes from a restaurant, there are these old like uncles and aunties standing outside with like, these sieves and everything, so the oil gets stuck in it and the water goes through, and like all the other junk goes through. And sometimes they cook it up as well, like so the bones like break down, and it has more like an oil kind of consistency, not this watery stuff. And it's definitely not safe for human consumption.
Right.
And it is
Right.
disgusting. So
Right. Like
yeah.
one of the things I want to say is that like on my channel, like people think that like I'm always just like anti-China. And I'm very skeptical. Like everything that I put on my channel is what I believe to be true. And that's why I never talked about gutter oil or anything until I actually seen it. And then I was just like, wow, like it's real, because it's kind of a stretch when you think about it. You would never think that somebody would do something so crazy, right? But China is an interesting country because it's a country of extremes. Like you can have extreme cleanliness on one side, or you can have like extreme dirt on the other side, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd never seen it until then.
Yeah. All right, then, dude. Let me interrupt you for 2 seconds. I was talking to Jimmy on WeChat. He just messaged me. So we're gonna have Snarky Guy on the stream as well, and he's gonna add to today's topic. So give it up to Snarky Guy. How you doing, Jimmy? You okay?
Hey, how you doing, man?
All good, all good. Oh, there you go. The disco lights.
Yeah.
Disco lights.
That's your invitation. That's all I got, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Nice.
Jimmy, let me put you up here, so
We're crushing
because I don't want to see myself, I want to see you, because I have the camera in front of me right here. So yeah, there you go. Awesome.
There you go.
So Jimmy, you already told us 2 funky stories about food or food safety in China. Anything else that you might want to add? Oh, there you go. The story, man.
Give us a story, man.
So 1993, I was in Guangzhou, and I walked by a New York pizza restaurant. It said in bright letters, New York Pizza. So I'm like, okay. And I happened to walk by and I see a couple sit down in the window. It's like, what are they eating? You're kind of curious. I was a kid at the time. So they sat down with a pizza that was basically looked like a very large saltine cracker with ketchup on top, chopped up hot dogs, and a whole rat spread eagle on top of the pie, kind of cooked.
What?
And I'm thinking, yeah, I guess that could be New York pizza. Yeah.
So it was like it was like obviously a rat. Like it wasn't rat meat. It was like a rat.
No, we're talking like a giant rat. We're like talking Princess Bride rodents of unusual size rat. Just this massive thing, just spread eagle.
Wow.
So
yeah, like you would think no one would throw that on a pizza and be like, yeah, somebody will buy it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they that was quite the norm. I mean, back in the day, you'd see all sorts of crazy stuff in Shenzhen. When I in Guangzhou too. Yeah. You'd see them serving boiled chickens. You were talking about the chicken earlier. They take a whole chicken and they dump it in boiling water, and that way the feathers would come off a lot easier. And this chicken is still alive. Going nuts, and so, and afterwards it pretty much stopped struggling, and then they'd pull the rest of the feathers off of it and continue to turn him around in there until he was boiled, and they'd stick him with something and cut him up and serve him.
Yeah, which is actually, a little bit weird, because like in the countryside, like in the UK or in Hungary or Europe, they usually kill the chicken first, like cut its neck, then dump it in boiling water so they can take the feathers off. They don't put a live chicken in the boiling water to, struggle and kill it that way. That's just,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, Snarky's Rat Diaries.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I
Well,
believe in the
I've
thousands
had
of
other strange foods in China as well.
that. Mm.
So, a good friend of mine, Adrian, his grandma came to Hong Kong from mainland China, and she was serving up some food, and it tasted a little funky. And I said, "Is this chicken?" And she said, "Chicken." She didn't speak much English. I said, "Chicken." Bark, bark. She's like, "No, chicken." Roof, roof.
Mm. Yeah, that's real. People think that that's not real. Like in China, that like there's dog and stuff. Like, no, that's real. You know, I used to live close to a place that served dog, and in the wintertime in Guangzhou, like they used to pop up all the time, and people would be like, "No, it's not real," and I would like be like turning my camera, like, "Yes, it is. Like it's real," you know. So yeah,
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
So they say the people in China will eat anything on four legs except a table.
yeah. Especially in I think in Guangdong province, like that's another thing. Perhaps and perhaps it has to do with older people too. You know, to be fair, a lot of times it's not necessarily younger people, but it does happen. Of course, younger people. You know, sometimes you will see some younger people that maybe their parents or whatever had put them on to eating these things, and they'll say it's good, right? But I think usually it's older people, and in Guangdong, especially Guangzhou, like I think any foreigner that goes to Guangzhou and then goes to Shenzhen will notice that there's quite a difference there in I don't know the word, but it's quite different, you know. So,
Sure,
yeah.
True.
sure. So,
Someone in the
Jonathan.
comments was asking me to bust this out.
Oh yeah. Let me bring that comment up for you, pal. Break out the chicken claw.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, what the hell is that?
Is that an actual like?
This is an actual chicken claw from Dongguan. I found it in my soup, and so I pulled it out, stuck it on a chopstick, and I've kept it ever since. Makes a very awesome beard scratcher.
Oh my
my
gosh,
God.
dude.
Scratch your back.
That's your lucky chicken claw.
Yeah, it's my lucky chicken claw. I have to hide it because Skittles tries to get a hold of it all the time.
Awesome.
Man.
So there was another one from Jonathan. This is a timely topic. I have just been dealing with this for about a month in China. A wave of dodgy food, counterfeits, very low quality. Yeah, like fake food and things like that is a problem sometimes. For example, there was a case in the Northeast where they were selling beef. But it was actually rat meat, like this very thinly sliced beef that you get in the hot pots or like in the Korean restaurants. It was actually rat meat, like thinly sliced. So
Right.
that's my rat story. It's not really related to me, but I have one as well. So yeah.
Well,
So
it's
yeah,
nothing new. They used to do stuff like that in the United States before too.
Sure. I remember like years ago there was a thing where like they were using I think it like some I don't remember exactly what it was, so I don't want to be like it hold a gun to me, but there was like a fast food place or something that got caught like putting horse meat or something in
That's
some of
the
their
story.
food.
I can tell you the full story actually.
Something like that, right?
It was Jack in the Box restaurant. What happened is in the early 80s, the United States had what was
Right.
called the Adopt a Bronco program, where you can adopt a wild horse if you can prove you can give it a home. So they did a follow-up story on that 5 years later, and they found that over 500,000 of these wild Utah Broncos just disappeared. And they finally tracked them down at Jack in the Box restaurant. Hence the name going around for a while, Horse in the Box.
Yeah. Right. And for like people that don't know, because I know like in Europe, in places in Europe, like horse meat is like completely legal and probably not so strange. But in America, for like the longest time, like horse meat was banned. And now it's legal, but like I don't know any place that sells it, and I don't know any place like anyone that eats it. And I tried it in Japan, like horse meat sashimi, and I wasn't impressed, but I wasn't like it was just average. But yeah, no. So I don't know.
Yeah, that was a thing a couple of years ago in the UK, where they imported the meat from Romania and Eastern Europe, and it was actually horse meat. Like it was a mixture. So there was a bit of beef and a bit of horse meat like mixed together, but they sold it as 100% beef, and people were really upset because in the UK and in Britain, a horse is basically like a pet, like something that you think of as your friend, like a dog or a cat, for example. And the what people said is like, oh, we're not going to eat our pets, we're not going to eat our horses, so we don't want any more meat from like Eastern Europe anymore. But in Romania, Hungary as well, like you can definitely eat horse meat, and it's not a big thing. It's totally normal there. So
Yeah, horse tastes pretty good, man.
Yeah, it's actually pretty tasty in my opinion.
Right.
Now, some meats you like, you're talking about dog. I don't like dog. It tastes a little rough.
Actually, I didn't like lamb until I went to China. Like that's one thing that China like really converted me to was lamb. I was like, lamb in America. And then like I went to China and I went through this like lamb eating spree for about like 4 months where it was just so bad, just so much lamb. Lambs were crying and running away because they knew that I was coming for them. Basically, it was horrible. So yeah.
Right. Let me drift a little bit off topic because Xi Jinping's boner answered my question. 2 comments from him. I do believe you're a shill in the making. Yay! Finally, I made it. Damn it!
You've made it.
All you need is G60, and we have the complete team. There you go. A big dog restaurant in Harbin. Jimmy, any dog restaurants near you?
There are a few near me, but it's not a big thing in Shanghai, as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there is a nice donkey restaurant down the street from my house, but I don't really like that one either because it kind of tastes like ass.
Yeah, right.
I mean, if you eat the donkey's ass, then yeah, I guess.
No comment. No comment.
Sorry, I had to say it. Come on.
I was thinking it too, though. So yeah.
There you go.
So, there you go.
I said what you were thinking.
Uncle Mikey. Nice.
Uncle Mikey.
Yeah, Uncle Mikey. Zack, you're a hard worker. Well, I'm not a hard worker. I'm just very nagging. But yeah, thank you. And it's called Basashi.
Mm-hmm.
That is the raw horse meat, right?
Yep. There you
go.
Right.
I eat anything, especially if it's slimy. See, that's one thing that I can't do, like slimy stuff. That's just no.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can eat like tofu, but slimy stuff, no. That's a no. Anyway, let's move on because we have a couple of articles. Let me pull those up for you guys.
Yeah, let's kind of transition to the next part, I guess, of the.
Which one do you want first, the Taiwan one or the Reuters one?
Oh, maybe just start with the Taiwan, I guess. Sure.
Okay. So this one is called China Facing Food Shortage After Months of Flooding. Let's have a look. So there you go. Let me remove this comment. So Corey, you sent me this one. Do you want to explain what's going on?
So I think as someone else kind of at the very beginning, I think his name is ABC Market or something. He talked about basically how I know you guys are in China, so we will say number 11, the big brother headmaster, we will say, has basically told, Chinese people to not be wasteful with food, right? And so it's kind of, with all the flooding going on and COVID, it's understandable as to why I think any country right now could be having issues with food shortages. But, for China in particular, the year has been really rough, I think, for China because of the floods and the COVID. And even in America, like it's been pretty bad. And basically what the article and what a lot of the evidence is saying is that China has been worried about food shortages. And, it's caused a lot of outcry of people in China kind of buying foods and trying to store foods and keep them, basically. So I guess the question is, have you guys noticed anything like this or seen anything like this? Because both of you were in China, so you would see it there in person, right?
Yeah. So, Jimmy, why don't you go first? Because you said you need to go in a couple of minutes. So,
Sure.
if you have anything to add.
Well, I don't know anything about food shortages. My wife probably knows more than I do. She's smarter and more intelligent than I am. So, but I will say that they've been hyping up the food shortage bit here in the form of when you take your trash out, we have trash police in Shanghai now. So when we take it out, sort everything out, and if you don't, they get on you. And when you go to a restaurant, they're asking you to order like 2 less dishes than before. So that's about all I know about the food shortages. But I do know Snarky's bedtime's coming up, and I'm going to turn into a turnip soon. So anyway,
sure.
Awesome joining you, gents, and I shall see you when I see you.
Awesome.
Hopefully very soon.
All right.
See you.
All right. Good night, pal.
Yeah, no. One of the things I wanted to say is that, like, when I lived in China, I didn't really like physically go to the grocery store and buy groceries. One of the things about China is it's so easy is you can have anything delivered. And, Jingdong, which is like their Amazon.com, actually has a side app which allows you to have groceries delivered. And so even though, like, I'm in America, I can look at the cost of groceries and things. And I've noticed that on the app, in Guangzhou, they've limited a lot of what you can purchase, and also the cost of certain things has gone up significantly, like way more than what it used to be. So for me, at least, it is noticeable that there is some difference compared to when I lived in China, right?
Yeah. And the other thing is, this food stuff and why it's related. Because on the streaming sites and video apps like Douyin and Bilibili and Tuotiao and all of these apps, they started, restricting people posting like food related content. Like, for example, eating on a huge amounts of food, that is basically banned now in China. Like you can't do that anymore.
Right.
And that is somewhat related to the food shortage and all of these things that we are talking about right now. And it's interesting to see how things can change overnight. Like this one was, it happened like just a little bit over a week ago, and things just disappeared like this on Douyin. Like you can't see those videos anymore. You can see the old ones, but there are no new videos where people are eating like, massive, mountains of food on camera anymore.
Yeah, those, what is it called? Mukbang or whatever it's called, right?
Yeah.
It's weird how popular that was in China, because not just in China, but other countries too. But I remember like going to some websites and like seeing like some girl eating some huge thing of noodles, and she'd have like 200,000 viewers, and I'd be like, what the heck is this? But yeah, I guess that they have even for live streaming, they've stopped a lot of it, and they don't want to entice people to do that, like whatever, it's not a cool thing, I guess, right? So yeah.
Another reason, and another thing about food shortages in general is here's a very interesting one. Meanwhile, food prices in China climbed by about 10% in July,
Right,
over the same period last year, and pork prices skyrocketed by 86%. And that was a very big like talking point, a few months ago, that how pork prices changed in China, and so many farmers, they started overfeeding their pigs and their livestock, so they can bulk it up and they can sell it for more as well, because they realize that the price that they are getting for it right now is really good, so they will try to get as much as they can. But obviously you can only bulk up an animal so much. So some of these farmers, they had some problems, and their livestock basically died, like the pigs died because they were so overfed, and they actually lost money. That there were farmers that lost money because of this.
Right. And the thing that this article talks about also is it's not just necessarily meat either. A lot of it is corn and rice and things like that too. It talks about the Chinese president and things going places to cornfields and observing these types of situations. I think that I think it's always a question in China, because China has something like America. China has an issue that maybe America doesn't, and maybe it's not necessarily an issue, but their population in China is so extreme that if you've never been to China and seen it before, like, it's really difficult to understand. So to feed that many people, right, in China would be difficult even during a good year, So during a bad year, it's kind of scary, kind of questionable, right, about how you're going to feed all of those people, of course. So I think the fact that people within the government have even spoke about it is a sign that perhaps there could be an issue, or they want to prevent an issue, or something like that, right? So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on with this article. It's actually the end of it, but this is another interesting one. Do you want to read the last two paragraphs for this one and just cherry pick the important parts?
Sure. So it's going to another serious problem that threatens China's food supply is insect. Yeah, the insect, I guess, that they have been insects they've been dealing with has been really bad. And again, it says the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs ordered the spraying of pesticides, and deployment of drones. So again, I think it's just more evidence that there is something very real going on. It's not a joke. And that they're having a lot of issues. Maybe it's just a bad year for China in that way. Just very unlucky with all of the floods and natural things happening of insects and whatnot too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it says here that all but where was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry, did I miss a point that you wanted to? I probably did.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Has been detected in all but 5 of China's provinces. So this is like, a nationwide problem. It's not just, one province in China and one only. It's actually all over the place. And this can be, a very big problem, because this can turn into a long-term issue as well. It's not just, one year there's going to be like bugs everywhere and insects, because those things are going to put eggs everywhere, and they can probably survive the harsh weather as well. So
right.
It sounds like it can be a long-term problem, but we shall see what happens with this one.
Sure.
Let's pull up the next one, which was from Reuters.
Mm-hmm. It's a transition.
There you go. So this was the one.
Right.
So disease that killed millions of China's pigs poses global threat. So, excuse me. So that was another one that I forgot to mention. Oh, there you go. Where's this one gone?
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. So there was essentially a disease that was spreadable between pigs in China, and China is very interesting in the fact that they have absolute power, and whenever they want to do something, like, they do it right away. Whereas if in America there would be a lot of discussion and perhaps litigation and back and forth. And China actually killed a lot of pigs in an effort to quickly stop stop this disease from spreading. And of course, in America they would do the same. But it seems like when China does something, it does it really swiftly and really quickly. And the amount of pork, of pigs essentially that they killed in China is it's crazy, right? To hopefully prevent this from spreading. And I mean, there were videos and there were just videos and videos of them burying pigs and stuff. And we can't show that here, obviously. But it was kind of a little crazy the way that they went about doing things to prevent this what is it, African swine fever, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah. This is a weird one, this swine fever thing. I mean, it popped up, all around the place, but because China is such a big country and they produce so much, the numbers are going to be much higher. So, I understand, why this is important news, but
Right.
It's Ken Ho, who's still, I'm still not sure if he's on my side or against me, but it's scaremongering by the West with that title, demonizing the Chinese again. That's what I mean. I mean, I somewhat agree with it. That if something bad happens in China, then it gets like
Sure.
They make it 10 times worse.
It will always make the news, right? And I think that's the thing. But at the same time, is it scaremongering? Perhaps that's the way that you get attention is, of course, by pointing out certain things. But I think that the major issue is that, especially with America, like people look at us all the time and are willing to point out our own faults, and we point out our own faults all the time, anyways. And when you say, "Oh, it's just scaremongering," like that's complete BS. Okay, like there's video of it happening. It's not fake. It's not like it's made up. It's not completely made up. Okay, there's video of it happening. If you're trying to say that it didn't happen or doesn't happen, like you're just completely in denial. Because again, there's video. Now, does that necessarily mean that like China's going to have like millions of people like dying of starvation? No, it probably doesn't, right? But I do believe that it is a realistic concern, not just for China, but for any country, but especially so when you have such a population, when you have as many people as China or say India even. I think that control of food and thing is a very difficult thing to do.
Absolutely. So Four Seasons One Family says, can you guys really go deeper into why the shortage of food is a big concern in China? Well, I'm gonna give a very simple answer to this one. It's a big concern because China's population is very big. That's one thing, and all of these people are together in it's a big country, but when it comes to 1.4 billion people or 1.5 now, it is a small place for all those people, and it's just one nation. And feeding those people day by day, it's a mission. Like you need to be prepared for that. So it takes a lot of effort to feed those people. I mean, it's not like people are lining up to get fed, but to provide the produce for them is a very big effort. And I'm not so sure if we should believe the predictions that the population is gonna go up significantly in China. I think it's just gonna go up swiftly. Like there's gonna be a nice line going like slowly up. It's not gonna be like a sudden up, because the economy right now is not great, both in China, in America, in the UK, because of the coronavirus. So I don't think many families are willing to put themselves in a situation where they need to look after a second child and put money towards a second child in a situation like this.
Mm-hmm. And to feed the troll, the Ken Ho, the scaremongering is by posing a global threat to the world. Well, I think that there's one thing that people China and people within China have to accept, and that is that China is a very large country, and it is a world power now, and that the mistakes of China can very much affect the world, and that could be like the coronavirus. If the coronavirus gets out to the rest of the world, which it did and has killed thousands of people in the world, that could cause a food shortage, not just in China, but in America and many other countries and all across Europe and whatever. So to act like that, China's problem is not necessarily a threat to the world is not, you're a little dense for believing that. You're kind of just ignoring it. You're talking about food and stock markets and things like that too will be affected. And to be honest, no one wants any country's people to starve, right? No one wants that, So, yeah.
Absolutely. Let me just ask a question to the audience, because I can see like people saying, things about Ken Ho. Is Ken Ho a CCP shill? Should we ban him or put him in a timeout or something? What do you guys think in the audience? Let us know in the comments, because if he is, then we're gonna put him in a timeout or
that is
something like that.
Judgment by the community,
Yeah, democracy. We do
right.
we do that.
Voting. Those types of comments, because I think that it just I think it stimulates discussion, and but I think also like he's probably not going to agree and see the truth, but I don't know. I don't mind like saying what I want to say. So. Yeah.
All right. So Xi Jinping's bonus said, "No, don't censor people. That's what the CCP does." Okay, so we're not going to censor him. We allow free speech. There you go.
Boner is like really active on YouTube.
Yeah. So I don't understand why do you hate me? Like, I'm a nice guy. I'm not a shill. I'm not a shill in the making. I mean, that was your concern at some point. I'm not sure if it still is, but I don't know. Am I a shill in the making? Am I already a shill? Was I ever a shill? I don't think so. We're on the same stream, and we agree on most things. So
yeah, no. People saying like they don't see him on my channel. I'll be honest. I think that the Wu Mao, we will call them, the Wu Mao, right? They believe in censorship, right? They believe the rules and laws and regulations of China. And in return, I give them what they believe in, and that is censorship. So if you don't see his comments on my channel, that's because I have censored him. That would be why. So I admit.
Right, so ABC Markets says food is a big concern in China, since any significant import activity to elevate shortages will impact the world commodity markets. That's not the case if a small country starts importing largely. Do you agree or disagree with this comment?
I agree 1,000 times. Like if Sweden has an issue with pork, it's a much different situation than if China has an issue with pork. We're talking about, again, like it's an unimaginable amount of people in China that have to be fed, and it's really hard to put it on a scale, but it's just an unimaginable amount of people. So I think when China has an issue, the world is going to notice that there is an issue. Yeah,
absolutely. There you go. Prime is 100% correct. Always, he's always correct.
Always. Yeah, Sweden's a great country. Great country. Love Sweden.
It was the apology to Guilao that sealed the deal. If you take back the apology, then you're cool in my books. Oh, dude, that's an interesting one. Do you mind if I explain this in like 30 seconds or less?
Go ahead.
So the reason why I did that apology to Guilao is because I want to be good with everyone. I don't like drama, even though I put a video out about Guilao. But I don't like drama. I did my part. And, the ball is on his side. If he wants to apologize, well, he doesn't need to apologize. He just needs to accept my apology and be cool with it. But apparently he's not going to do that. So, either way, I don't really care. And I don't want to waste time on him. Some of the things I said about him, I still stand behind those things. What I don't stand behind is things like, getting personal and saying things like, he's only got like, I don't know, 10 years left or things like that. That wasn't
rough,
cool,
bro.
that was rough. Like, people were like, Zach, you can't be that savage.
That was rough, man. I don't know.
There you go. Why would you want to be good with that guy? I know we're not gonna be besties. I know we're not gonna be besties, but the thing is, and I said this, many times to you guys as well and to my viewers as well, that some of these YouTubers, they don't have the social skills to solve problems, to talk to people, and that's something that I do have. I have the social skills to talk to any kind of people, be it, I don't know, Winston, be it, Lee Barrett, be it Snarky Guy, be it you. I have the social skills to be able to talk to people because I'm not socially awkward. I don't just sit in a corner and just, do you know what I mean? So I am very willing to talk to people, to listen to them. But that doesn't mean I will always agree with them.
Right, exactly. To be fair to Zack P's defense here, and he doesn't need defending, but if he said something on here that I thought was wrong, that was him shilling, I would say it with him on the stream. And that's why I'm not on the pro CCP streams, because I would call out the BS immediately. And I think the fact that I'm not like sitting here going, Zack P's full of whatever, right? Should tell you that perhaps he's a little more middle ground. I don't think he's shilling per se. I think he's just more in the middle,
I'm more intelligent. That's the thing. I did the IQ test this morning. I told you. My IQ is 144. I am guessing, I'm way above certain China YouTubers with my IQ. I mean, 144 is like, above average. So,
someone said something about, well, no GMO or that much antibiotics in our meat here. Even when we are sick, lightly ill, we don't get antibiotics. I think that's an interesting discussion. I'm not going to get into that completely, but one thing I will say is that like bananas have been genetically modified from their original state. No one says that like GMOs are like really bad, but like no one says bananas are bad in that case. But actually, like a lot of our foods have been genetically modified, for years and years and years to be made better to eat. So I think, without getting on the discussion of GMOs and things, I don't think like GMOs are as bad as people always give them hate for.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's the thing. Like, even when it comes to America, that's like the first thing. Like, oh, there's GMO in America, and they modify everything in America, and that's gonna give you cancer and everything. And
what is and then it's like in China they always like add MSG. They're like, yeah, there's some MSG in this shit, make it taste better, And then like a lot of people go to China and they're like, no MSG, no MSG. So I think all countries have their little weird particular things about them like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure about MSG. I mean, you can definitely taste the difference, but am I pro or anti MSG?
Right.
I don't know. Like I used it before. I'm happy to use it sometimes when I make, for example, burgers, because I want to taste the meat more. I use it for burgers sometimes. But for like a scrambled egg, there's no freaking point, is it? So it really depends what you use it for. Like, it's not for everything. Like, you don't put, MSG onto your bananas, for example. So
And the other thing, was there another article, or did I ever send you the link to the last article?
no, you only send me to the Taiwan and the Reuters one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
While you send me the other one, I'm gonna put up Xi Jinping's comments. He says IQ, a 140 for IQ means you're a sociopath. Well, you have tendencies to be a sociopath.
Are you a sociopath?
No, I don't think so. I'm just smart.
No comment. No.
There we go.
I'm just kidding. Let's see. I'm gonna try to message you this linky link here. Well, forget it. I'll just talk about it. It says in authoritarian China, eating freely is a cherished activity. Now, food waste campaign wants to control the meals, and I think it's something that was kind of touched on earlier. Is how there's a lot of these places, restaurants, and things now. Because of the realized potential of a horrible food shortage, is that people are talking about how there's a lot of restaurants that tell people to eat your whole plate of food, right, and to only eat until you feel full or whatever, right, and it's kind of a public service announcement at a lot of restaurants and on WeChat and things that I've seen on WeChat. How a lot of restaurants are talking about this. And even like hot pot places, they're like, only order as much as you think you're going to eat, which is kind of difficult at a hot pot place, I guess. But I think that they're very aware that there could be a food shortage. And I think that, when in China, when the government kind of puts a message out, people follow, right? People really listen. People really share that information, and people kind of move in the same direction. So maybe I can share that article.
Sure. So Jonathan said there is a lot of food waste in China these days. It still shocks me seeing 50% of what is served at a typical dinner is uneaten. Yeah, that is part of Chinese culture, unfortunately, and the dining etiquette in China. That when you take someone out for dinner, you order much more than what you can actually eat.
Right.
And
it's kind of like, hey, look at us. We have this huge table of like 50 dishes, right? And it's kind of cool, but yeah, it's when you first do that, it's kind of cool. You're like, damn, look at all that food. We're such a rich family. Look at us, but it is kind of wasteful, right? And it does happen, unfortunately. And that's not to say that food waste doesn't happen in America. Let's be honest. It does happen in America. But again, that's sort of a result of China's population. It happens on a much larger scale because of the population in China.
Yeah. So that's something that people need to look at when they talk about China, that the population is so much bigger. What's the population of America right now?
Who knows? It's like 200,000 less than before.
So what is it, 300 and something million now?
Yeah, yes, of course it's still going to be around there. It's a 328.2 million. That's as of 2019. We'll just use the 2019 numbers. We don't have.
So let's go with, I don't know, 330. Yeah. 330 million people.
China, right?
China has what? Almost 5 times more than that.
Yeah, right. So it's like the problem that arises in China could potentially be 5 times larger.
Yeah, it's much more significant in size, and that's why sometimes I don't understand people when they go, China did this, China.
Sure.
And just look at the numbers. For example, it sounds bad, and I need to apologize in advance. But when a building collapses in China, and for example, 50 people die, everyone is all over it. Like, oh my God, a building collapsed and 50 people died in China. But if you look at the population, 1.4 billion people in a country, that's just literally a drop in the ocean.
Right.
I mean, it's don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's horrible. It's terrible that 50 people died, but if you look at it from the sheer numbers, it's such an insignificant number. And people are still like all over it, like, oh my god, 50 people died, and China is so terrible, and that's the narrative about it.
And I think that's the reason that China really has to work better. For speaking of food regulation and things, they have to work better, work harder to fix a lot of these issues, because even what seems like a small issue becomes a very large issue in China just because of the population. And I think that they're aware of that, but it's very difficult for management to come out and say that necessarily. So yeah.
So there is a comment from Critical Metaphysician. Yep. Honestly, though, I do support the push in China to conserve food better, but I don't know how effective the current approach will be.
Right.
I have to agree with this one, because to make changes like this, it can take years. Sometimes it can take generations as well. And a very good example when things can take generations to change is the approach to money in China, for example. Like if you look back to the Mao Zedong times, money was rather insignificant. Like people were more concerned about their lives. But right now, a generation later, everything revolves around money. Everything is about money for everyone. And that's just one generation. Mm-hmm. So to achieve something like this with food, I think it's gonna take at least 15 years. At least 15 years to get to a level where people can say, like, I don't waste as nearly as much as food as I did like 10 years ago, for example, or like to change this like dining etiquette and dining standards in China, where you invite someone out and you order like 3 more dishes than what you can actually eat, because it's so like embedded in Chinese culture. Like it's almost a tradition in China to order more food than what you can actually eat.
Right. You're talking about like a very big social change, and a social change like that will take a very long time.
Yeah.
That's why in China you have this generation of people that are like the lost generation, right? Like they're very different and completely uncomparable to the people today, right? Because they went through something that people today don't really go through in China, and it happened so quickly that it kind of like messed those people up, right, to a point. And for that type of change to happen, it has to be over time, over years. An example of that is Hong Kong. Is Hong Kong is if you step over the border into Hong Kong, it's quite a bit different, right? And at least for now, and that took time, right? It didn't change overnight. It took time, and it's the same thing in mainland China. It's going to take time for a social change like that to happen, especially because there's such a rural population in China that live in the countryside, and people that are kind of like, where the laws and restrictions are very thin. Like in Guangzhou, you can't ride a scooter in the city, or else the police will get you within like 20 seconds, a gas scooter. Whereas if in the countryside, like it's still completely legal, so yeah.
Absolutely. All right. On a side note, food is also a major reason why China intervenes the South China Sea. It's the biggest marine protein source for its populace. Food geopolitics.
That's a very
I don't really follow this whole South China Sea thing. There are many YouTubers covering this. I don't want to be one of them because I have no interest in it.
Sure.
Mikey says in Sweden it is the opposite. Swedish people are saving food. I got embarrassed when I brought too much. I can't. I don't know. Like in the UK, it's we have both sides of the spectrum. Like there are the ones that waste food every single day. Like bags of food are getting thrown out every day. Then you get the university students that are basically dumpster diving to survive. And Yeah, I mean, it really depends where you are and what is your situation with money. If you can afford food, if you can afford more than what you actually need, I think you are more likely to waste. But if you can't afford everything that you need, you're gonna be more careful and you're gonna save more, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with this like philosophy or thought process.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, definitely.
So there you go. So China Blogger News, welcome. Good to see you here, pal. I have a question that is slightly off topic. Sure, I'm sure Corey is going to answer this question. Can Prime in China tell us how he did the deep fakes on his video? For example, when he swapped the faces with movie stars. Is this a trade secret, like a Prime in China secret, or are you willing to share some details about this?
So basically, I have a team of, I think it's up to 57 people now that actually edit, produce, and film all of my videos. I think it's 57 people. And basically, we have 57 mouses connected to the computer through USB. And we move the face with the video in real time with all 57 people. And that's how we make it look so realistic, basically.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's freaking terrible. Can you please like answer the question properly? This is supposed to be a serious stream.
So no, actually, it's just something that we edit in Final Cut Pro, basically. So it's not, it's nothing. I think it's a lot easier than people know that it is. It's just edited in Final Cut Pro. It's not a big deal.
Okay. Ken Ho, consider where China was 20, 30 years back. They are still in their growing stages. They are still learning about health and safety. Eventually, they will get there. Hopefully. I mean, whatever people said about you, Ken Ho, I somewhat agree with this comment. And when people say like, oh, China is like, number one in everything now, and they're already a developed country. No, they are not. Like they're still like, very, very far behind with certain things when it comes to like comparing to other nations. They're still very far behind.
Sure.
But there are things that, they are, far ahead. For example, like phones, like Huawei phones, these are like, miles ahead of other phones.
Thank you, capitalism.
Yeah.
It's for me. Here's the honest truth about that situation. You're talking about communism in a sense here. Communism is a very old and outdated system, and it's not a Chinese system. It's a Western system. We actually created that, and China just tells people that it's a Chinese characteristics. Communism, unfortunately, and not to get Zack here in trouble, it doesn't work. We know it doesn't work, and that's why nobody uses it anymore, except for like a few countries, And it's very old and outdated. And you consider that the Communist Party in China is a certain age and has unfortunately not. We'll let it go. But the amount of time of age that it is, even compared to America, is not. The American government is older than the Chinese government. Look at Hong Kong, how fast they progressed as a people because of British, right? Because of the British. And you're talking about 50 years. And, but I guess China's 6,000 years old or 5,000 years old. So,
which is actually not really true, but yeah.
We don't know about that, right?
Well, we don't really know about it, but yeah, there you go. Nice answer for the previous question.
Yeah, sorry.
IQ 140. I think this is going to be the new meme for the community for the next couple of weeks. IQ 144, humor 0. I think my humor is okay. Like, I'm not a prime in China, but
damn, that's rough, man. He got you.
That's a sick burn, that is. That's like MLG Peppa Pig 420 Blaze It. You know,
Man, it's rough.
communism versus crony capitalism. Obvious who the winner is. There is no winner. That is the thing. There is no such thing as a winner. There is
Right.
no perfect system.
That
I
is
mean,
true. Like anytime
mean,
you depend on one single system to somehow be perfect for its people, you're going to fail, right? And I think that's why every like popular system now is a hybrid system. Like no one is focused on just one thing. The issue with the issue with the system in China is that the main system, the head system, likes to control the other systems and doesn't leave room for the other systems to work in their own way. And so it causes problems. It's like Huawei, right? We know Huawei is a private company, but are they really, right? Sorry.
I don't know, man. Like, when people say like, that their employees can buy shares from the company,
Man.
I believe that they can buy it, but it's not just them owning it.
Right.
So, there must be some truth in that one, but I do feel like there's
Sure.
some porkies in the story. So
Sure.
yeah.
So maybe finish answering the questions and then call this stream.
Yeah, absolutely. So so guys, if you have any more questions, dump it into the chat box right now. We'll go through them as quickly as we can. Let's go through this one first. Well, I would hardly call China a communist country for the average Joe, as everything costs there. It is communism, or rather socialism, for the rich, but harsh capitalism for the average Joe. See, that's the thing. Like, as foreigners, it's very, very difficult to make an opinion about this, because we are foreigners. We don't know what the average life is in China from a Chinese person's perspective. So if I want to get that, I need to call China Mikey on, or I need to call China Bill, or I need to call Simon to tell us if this is really true. I mean, I can make an opinion about it, but there might be Chinese people out there saying like, "Oh, Zack P is saying bullshit because he's a foreigner and he doesn't know, the average life of a Chinese person." So
Sure.
Yeah,
I think the main thing though is regardless of if you're Chinese or a foreigner, is that the political system in China says that major system is the head of the system, and that it is over socialism, it is over capitalism, it is over all of that stuff, and that's just the way that it is, So, yep.
So Mikey says, it is a good topic for the next show, Zack. Absolutely. I hope we can do a show on Friday with you guys. Maybe have you on as well, Corey. I don't know if you're working on Friday, so it's going to be Friday morning for you. We shall see. We're going to talk about it, see what works for who.
Mm-hmm.
The trend says, one is on the decline and the other is going to the moon, just like Bitcoin. One crypto is on the decline and the other one is, on the way to the moon. Crony communism. You can buy shares but not sell them. Well, Corey is the guy that you need to ask about, buying stuff. I'm only invested in crypto, and right now it's not looking good. So
it's an interesting subject, but I think it's for another stream in the future too.
Yeah. I mean,
sure.
not for this one.
Right.
I wish China would be more like Europe, democratic, socialist. Is that such a thing? Can you have like democracy and socialism together?
Try.
Is that like being a liberal? No, it's not. No.
That's the problem. Is certain systems want to be the only system, and then other systems, Yeah.
Right. James, wasting food is in Chinese culture. It is quite weird sometimes at a big family dinner. It's weird. Although sometimes it gets taken home. Very rarely, from my experience.
I don't think we ever took I don't think we ever took food home. I don't think.
I never took food home.
maybe Taobao, and ask for the bag, the big bag.
My final question. I asked this on most streams, but who is your favorite shill and why? Corey, who's your favorite shill?
That's difficult to answer. When he says favorite, what does he mean by favorite?
The one that you dislike the most and thinks shills the most.
Which one do I dislike the most? Probably Guelo 60. Just for the simple fact that he kind of like ruined the community. There's a lot of the viewer perception of our community is very different than what happens in private, and that people know has and does happen in private. And for those people that don't know, I'm not going to sit here for 20 minutes, but that situation is at one time the community was all together, and now it's not, and that's just largely because of Guelo. But as far as the other people, like Jerry, I mostly poke fun at them. It's not, I don't hate them. I don't want to fight with them physically. It's just for funsies, sure, we all disagree, but it's just for funsies, right?
Absolutely. So he says mine is Zack P. There you go. I'm his favorite shill. Yay. Mine is actually Nathan Rich for very obvious reasons. He is shilling the hardest. He's shilling the hardest, in my opinion.
More successful than anyone else, I think.
Crickets, he's asking, do people own land or is it government owned? So farmers living in like villages, they own their own, like they own the land and what's on it. People in the city, they get their stuff leashed to them for up to 70 years, I think. It depends which city, which province are you in, but countryside, it's different from the city life. So yes and no. Do you agree with this one, Corey, or do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, I that's the thing in China is it's another communist thing. Essentially, you can't own the land. They own and control the land. You can lease the land for a certain amount of time, and then you have to repay the tax, essentially. And you repay the tax, and then you get to lease it again. Yep.
All right, moving on. So Jonathan says, yes, this is a cultural and face and show-off problem. 5 times more people can also eat 5 times more food, but that's not the issue. It's modern show-off of superficial wealth culture. Yep, it's like what we talked about earlier. In Mao's time, there was no money. There was money, just not as much.
Right. There was no money. Maybe not no, but
Corey, where is your wife? At home, right?
My wife is at home.
There you go.
It sounds like she's in the bathroom somewhere.
Hey, Corey, what do you think of Dumbrill's ongoing Tibet trip paid by CGTN? Good for him.
Right. Actually, let me be honest. I think it's really cool that he got to go to Tibet. I would have loved to have went to Tibet, so I can't hate on him for that. I think it's kind of shitty and crappy that it's done by state-run media. We all know what the agenda there is, but I would like to go to Tibet. So yeah,
absolutely. And I think that was the last question. The other ones are I don't think you want to answer these ones.
I don't know.
Or do you want to?
Where is my wife? Which one? Which question are you talking about?
A bit further down by Jack Black.
The criminal record thing. Yeah, no, I don't mind talking about that. I feel like there's this thing where people they feel like they're exposing. We have this information and we're going to expose you. No, like. I don't care. I talked about it in a video years ago. It was one of my first videos in China. I talked about it, and I really don't care. You know, I tell people this shit all the time. Like, you can say whatever you want. You can try to silence me all you want. It's not going to work, you know, because you're never going to stop me from talking about China by talking about my personal reasons. Like, if you want to stop someone from discussing a topic, you can't go after them personally. You know, like, you can come to where I live and you can stand outside and you can take pictures of my house and, you know, you can do all of that stuff. I don't care. You know, I'm not afraid of these Wu Mao people with no lives. And, you know, I just don't care. Right. And I think that's the thing, is they care more than I care. And I don't care. Say what you want, you know.
Fair enough. Just to answer, you know, your thing, Jack. Honestly, I'm a very tolerant person. So
that's the other thing.
Unless you're a kiddie fiddler.
Like, I think that's the other thing. Like, they're under this impression that people don't know, right? When, like, I've already told everyone, like, Zach already knows, everyone already knows. And I think they're trying to do this thing where they're like, well, we will tell the world and then no one will ever work with you. I don't care. Like, I work with myself. I make my own videos. And regardless of that, if Zack P or whoever doesn't want to be on a video with me, I don't care. Like, I will continue to make my own videos, you know? So,
all right. So Cricket says, great live stream. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks to everyone that came to the live stream, that watched and asked questions. I think the questions are really important. They allow us to, you know, talk about some of the things that maybe perhaps we don't know are issues or aren't aware of or whatever. So, you know, thank you to everyone that watched. Thank you to everyone that asked questions. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Let me just plug all the channels.
Awesome.
There you go. That's it, guys. So make sure that you subscribe to the both of us, because you know, we could use some extra numbers. You know, like the videos, leave a comment, leave a like, all of those things. You know, check out the Patreon stuff. Anything else that you want to add, Corey?
No, like, I guess check out my Patreon, of course. As always, if you want to support my channel, my movement, for my people, check out Zach's channel. You know, go ahead and you know, check him out. Hopefully we can do some more things in the future together and do some live streams. I appreciate it. Thank you, Zach. For those people that don't know, Zach actually pays for StreamYard. It is fairly expensive, and he allowed for me on this Sunday to do a stream with me so that I didn't have to edit a video. So thank you, Zach. I do appreciate it.
Sure. Let me plug myself. So if you guys want to support me, you can do it right here. I will send half of the money to Corey as well. So if you want to support me, you can do it here with this QR code. This is a WeChat QR code. You can go over to my my YouTube account, and you can see my Patreon and my PayPal. So if you want to help with the costs, feel free to do it. You know, I'm not asking for it. I'm not begging for it. It's a choice for you to make. So,
Sure.
So yeah, I'm just gonna leave this up until we finish the stream. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that is it, and hopefully we can do this in the future. So I will see you guys in the very